for those of you that aren't wizards when it comes to saved searches, when it comes to analytic workbooks, this is your friend, where in a minute, or in an instance, I should say, I want access to insight around the business. It might be in relation to our product performance. It might be in relation to inventory count by location. Any data that is living in NetSuite, I want to be able to access it, have a conversation with it without the laborious task of having to click through tabs, click through reports, and have my administrative team build it for me in the first place. So we're going to show you what that looks like living and breathing in NetSuite. Beyond that, we're not always behind our desk. We're not always in front of our NetSuite instance. So what if I'm able to access not only NetSuite information, but other information related to our business in the palm of our hand? And so we're going to jump out of NetSuite, we're going to jump into Slack and show you how powerful that can truly be. And then something that we won't show today, but we'll simply talk through, as many of you listening are likely Salesforce users. And if you're Salesforce users, no doubt you've heard about Einstein Copilot. The challenge is that it's only related to the information that lives and breathes within Salesforce, but that might hinder you from actually getting a 360-degree view of your customers. There might be critical information living in a Cantata, critical information living in NetSuite. And so what we're able to leverage is Ask NetSuite or ask any other tool within Salesforce. So you can open the context window of information so that you can get a full picture of your customer to make a then data informed decision. And so I've said so much in a short period of time. So I would love to just show you what some of this looks like overall. And so we're going to tab over into NetSuite. And for many of you, this is a familiar screen. If this is your first time looking at NetSuite, welcome. But let's put on the hat of a software as a service organization. And you're looking at a dashboard here that tells me about some of the critical SaaS metrics that I need to know at any given moment, and information about new ARR, upsell, downsell, churn. And if my heart desired, I can click through this dashboard and get the information I'm hopefully looking for. But wouldn't it be great if I can have it exposed to me elsewhere? And that's where you enter ChatGPT for NetSuite. And so what you're looking at is an in NetSuite application that we've built, enabled for many individuals, ourselves included, where if I'm in this, say I had a question such as, what are my top 5 ARR accounts? And so Plaito gets to work. And Plaito can be named anything, by the way. It's just, it relates to what we do here at Plaito. But what you're seeing is that it is going to query, in this case, a saved search that we've created that's informing that dashboard that I just showed you. And so you can see the response that based on ARR, here are the top 5 ARR accounts outlined and some additional information about it. One step further, though, I might want to better understand things like churn, things like our lowest performing products overall. And so here is then a continuous thread that I'll show you of communication that you can have with Plaito or our AI bot as it navigates your NetSuite instance. So let's continue on this conversation. What about churn? Plaito, back at work, again, knows where to go because we've provided Plaito with the context it needs to answer this question. And so Plaito is not beholden to save searches or workbooks. Plaito can scan and analyze and assess any record within your NetSuite instance. So if, again, you wanted information about inventory, if you wanted information about your field service technician, all of that is possible. And it can also help drive decision. So in this case, maybe I want to better understand where I should focus my time. And so Plaito, again, with the appropriate context and direction in relation to ARR and our overall product performance, Plaito's going to make a recommendation. And so as that prompts, I would encourage you once again, how does this relate to me and my team? And so here you can see a series of recommendations where they're focusing on a particular things like the highest value accounts, maybe previous transactions, upsell opportunities, but all of this, once again, living and breathing in your NetSuite instance. But as mentioned, we're not always behind our desktop. We're not always in NetSuite. And so we're going to tab over, and what you see now is Plaito, but the user interface that we had referenced in a previous slide. So once again, we have your data, And the data is illustrated by all of these core platforms that you can see here. You then have a AI model, which is behind the scenes, which is going to be doing a lot of the retrieval and the analysis that you'll see here momentarily. And then the user interface, and that user interface in this case is Slack. So that exact same question and prompt, as mentioned, of Ask NetSuite. So I'm going to click submit. You're going to see an immediate message prompt here on the right-hand side, and you're going to see AI at work. And so, as you can see, consistent answer from what I got within NetSuite, I've now received directly within Plaito, because again, it's the same data source. But Plato's not done there. And what you'll also see is it starts to chart the information. That's important to me and the team. What I would also like to draw your attention to, and this is very critical, what we call the inner monologue. And so what this serves as is a description as to what Plaito is doing, what it's looking at to fetch the information for you. So in an instance, you can see if Plaito were to suggest that it's going to a particular workbook that actually doesn't have the relevant information, you can then, again, train the model to make sure that it has the appropriate context to give you the right answer. So this is your own validation to deduce, yep, that makes sense because it's looking in the right place. Another very cool example, and again, as mentioned, you're able to chart the graphics and you can do some very cool things to slice and dice your information. But let's say same software as a service organization, but now I'm going to put on the hat of a sales representative or a business development representative and see what that could look like. So maybe my manager told me, hey, Jeff, very exciting customer in Big Five sporting goods. Let's send some notes out to them. Let's see if there's any product potentially that we can sell. Same thing where I'm able to search customers. And so this customer lives in NetSuite in Big Five sporting goods. So I'm going to submit that information because without going to NetSuite, I would love if I can just get a quick synopsis, what they do, and other critical information that's going to allow me to expedite my outreach. So once again, you can see we're asking NetSuite for data about Big Five sporting goods. But that's not the only source of data that I'm interested in. We have other tools that we leverage within the organization, things like Apollo, as you see in the top here. Apollo, similar to Zoom Info, has critical information about the business in regards to the people, their contact information, the technology they're using, all things that I would love to have at my fingertips before I send a note to an executive of their team. There's also such valuable information naturally on the internet, on LinkedIn. And so what if we could, again, expand the context window of where we're getting information and have that consolidated in one easy to digest forum. And so you can see here, we've got a synopsis of the organization, but beyond that, you have further tabs to give you what you might need. So maybe as a sales rep within the organization, I am paid when the company is paid from a commission standpoint. So I might want to better understand the invoice status. Before I reach out, I would love to understand who's who in the zoo, what are the roles, the individuals behind them. So I'll also click company structure. For me to have an effective outreach and understand what tools they might be using, and let's envision that I sell NetSuite, maybe gaps that I'm hoping to fill with my solution, let me understand their tech stack. And just to round out totally, we can also look at company news. So the company news coming from LinkedIn, coming from our data enrichment platform like a Zoom Info or Apollo. So all of that information from those prompts, as you can see, is being filled out here. So we've got the invoice information, and if I need to see more of it, I can dive into it. You can see an overview of the company structure here on the right-hand side. So again, when it was founded, market cap, all of this very helpful information coming from a tool like Zoom Info, or in our case, Apollo. Beyond that, you're getting a breakdown of individuals that you see on the right-hand side here as well. So the executive leadership, the vice presidents within the organization and beyond. And lastly, the tools that they're leveraging across the organization, scrubbing this from your data enrichment platform. And so all of this information has been brought to me by, one, having our core platforms connected in the first place. Secondly, having a model on top of that, and then a very easy to leverage user interface. one step further, I'm a BDR. I'm sending out a ton of these notes. What if I were to want to write an email? So if I were to say, write an email to the director of operations at Big Five Sporting Goods about why they should consider NetSuite given their recent company news, in addition to the technology that they're using. So let's see where that gets us. And so here it is. Dear Director of Operations, I hope this email finds you well. And beyond that, 7 bullet points as to why they should consider NetSuite. But myself as an executive, an email between 25 to 50 words is probably what I'll digest real time. If not, I'm going to deprioritize it. So what if I give the prompt, hey, shorten this to 25 words just to increase the chance of it actually being read? And so Plaito, hard at work once again, simplifies that message. So as a sales rep, a task that might have taken me 10, 15, 20, an hour even, I've done here real time in this conversation simply because we have our tools connected, an intelligent model on top of that, and a very easy to leverage interface.